Feel hungry? Come and show you how to make some curry snapper and some plantain FuFu. We're gonna prep some ingredients. We have some scallions here. Now all these have already been washed and cleaned. Alright, nice and small, just take your time, no need to rush. We got some yellow onions here. We're also going to be adding some fresh ginger. You want to cut these as small as possible because you don't want to bite into chunks of ginger, right? Also going to be doing some garlic. Pretty much what we're looking for. So now we have some fresh thyme here also. Now we're only going to be using the top half of the thyme because we don't want to use the thick sprigs, right? About that. Now again, you want to make sure you cut this up as fine as possible. Alright, something like that. We're going to be also adding some red bell pepper to this. Just pull those seeds out, just like that. I'm gonna add this one in with the scallion. And we're also gonna be adding some fresh basil. So you always wanna make sure you check the leaves. You know, you can pull off like the old bruised up ones. you can smell that aroma from the basil. So pungent. Very good, guys. So earthy. Basil is just one of those ingredients that really bring out that brightness and that vibrancy in dishes, right? So I'm gonna add this in with the scallion and the peppers. So now we're gonna work on some okra. So we're just gonna cut that top piece off right by the stem. All right, now we're gonna cut these as small as possible, as thin, I should say, as possible, right? And when cooking, remember, relax, breathe. Remember, you're in control, right? No need to get anxious and to start being reckless and go cutting your finger off or burning yourself, right? Just pay attention, slow down, and just enjoy what you're doing. Now, if you find one of these okras that's a little bit hard to cut through, that simply means that they're old, right? And when they're old, they're not that edible. This is gonna be an amazing dish. Now, we're also gonna be adding some corn to this. Now, always buy fresh corn if it's available at your supermarket, right? Usually cut that little bump off on the end. Alright. You're gonna cut these as thin as possible. Be careful because the corn is pretty hard and sometimes, you know, the knife will slip, right? So I always recommend setting the knife, resting your hand on the back, and just putting some pressure, just like that. So therefore, in case the knife slips, your fingers are out the way. Right? Pretty much something like that. That should work. So we have some beautiful yellowtail snapper here, guys. So this is about almost 3 pounds of fish, right? This is a pretty big one here. Now I've already checked for any extra scales that was left behind, right? Because you don't want to be eating a fish and come across scales on it. It's not really fun, right? Also, if you look at the eyes, they're not sunken in and they're nice and bright. You don't want them when they're sunken in. And of course, to pass the smell test, right? You want to make sure it smells fishy, like it comes from the sea, obviously, but you don't want it to smell like it's rotting, right? No good. And the flesh looks nice on the inside, so these are perfect. So what we're gonna do now is we're just gonna put some scores on these. We're gonna do repeated on both sides. Now just be careful while doing this that you don't slip and cut your hands, right? Remember, slow down, don't rush. All right. We have some jerk seasoning, right? You can find that in your grocery store in your international aisle. So we're just gonna go ahead, and if you can't find it there, guys, a lot of things you can order off Amazon also. So let's go ahead, get a nice handful of this, and we're gonna lightly sprinkle. We don't wanna do too much because you don't wanna be biting into a certain part of the fish and it has a chunk of seasoning in it, right? That's not gonna work. Make sure, of course, to get the belly, as that is very important. And be careful because there are a lot of bone inside, right? This. Okay, look at that. I'll go ahead and do this on the big one here. And of course, you can just slowly massage that spice in. Awesome. So now we're gonna go ahead and put these down and give them a few minutes to kind of marinate. So let's get started on this coconut milk. Nice, beautiful coconut. You want to keep smashing around it, keep hitting it, because that loosens it up, make it easier to crack. I mean, whoa, Jesus. Wow. That's a lot of water in this. Nice and fresh. Nice little bit of the sweetness in it. All right. Now that we're hydrated, let's get back to it. Now, if you want to wear some eye protectors, that'll work too in case anything flies and hits you, right? Now, it's tradition to always try a piece of the coconut. Now, if you're a lady that's watching this, this is where your husband come in. Now, I'm using a butter knife here, right? And all you're gonna do is just take the edge and just kind of stick it right underneath the coconut, the flesh of it, and also the shell, right where it meets. And then you kind of work that underneath there like that. All right. And you want to use a butter knife just in case that slips, it doesn't poke you. Just like that. A bit hard, right? Let's see if we can get that coconut water out of this one here. We'll get some water for the queen. Not too bad, right? Oh, one came out nicely. So I already took the coconuts in, I washed them, got rid of all the extra shells and stuff. So we're just gonna go ahead and cut these up right quick and get ready to start blending these, right? So we're just cutting them into small pieces so we can put that blender blade to work. So obviously this way is a little bit more tedious, right? It's easier just to grab a can of coconut milk from the grocery store. But the thing about this way is it's more fresh, and you also get to bypass some of the preservatives, right? And you're gonna end up with way more coconut milk than you get in one can. All right, so these are about ready here. A couple more pieces. That's it. Perfect. Now, now we're using warm water here, as this is going to help to extract the coconut cream more, right? Okay, now we're gonna work this by hand. And what you're doing is just pretty much extracting some of that coconut milk out of it, squeezing it out of the coconut, right? Alright. So we'll just do this here for a couple of seconds, and then we're gonna be ready to start straining. Oh, you can smell that strong coconut smell now. Yeah, that coconut milk really taking effect here. Now again, patience, guys. You know, this is not a rush thing. If you don't have the time, yes, go buy you a canned coconut milk, that will work. But if you do have the time, you know, maybe doing this in advance would be better. And you're gonna find out that you're gonna end up with a way better product than using too much of the store-bought stuff, right? All right, so this is, well, good right here. All right, so we're gonna go ahead here. Ooh, let's take your time. Perfect. Now we're gonna just go ahead. Just use a spoon here. Just kind of squeeze that milk out. Now, if you have a cheesecloth, that would be perfect for this, right? But as you see, I got an old strainer here, right? I need to get a new one, but we're gonna make this work. So you just wanna press all that milk up. Okay. Alright, let's go ahead and set that aside. King alone. Okay, now we're just gonna squeeze all that out. Go ahead and do this by hand. Just kind of squeeze all that cream out of it. All right, that's perfect. All right, so we're gonna give this a final strain here just to make sure we don't get any of that coconut trash in it. There we have it. Nice. Rich, creamy. Just what we're looking for, right? So we're gonna set that aside. We're gonna go ahead and make some pumpkin puree, and I think we'll be ready to cook. Just a little quick behind the scenes. I'll show you a quick treat. Just take some of that coconut there. And then I'm just gonna add a little bit of brown sugar to that. Just a little bit more right there. And then you're gonna go ahead and just mix that in by hand. And it's a childhood favorite, right? Growing up in the islands, we used to have this on Sundays whenever they cook rice and peas. That leftover coconut trash from the coconut milk, that was the perfect snack. So I have a nice piece of pumpkin here. You see, not too bad. But when selecting pumpkins, you want the ones that are like bright orange, right? We're gonna go ahead and peel the skin off of these. I do it like this because sometimes the skins are a little tough and hard to peel, and you know, again, we want to be safe, right? Don't want to make any mistakes and cutting our fingers off. Now, if you find yourself with an organic pumpkin, you know, one that grows maybe like in your neighbor's backyard or something, you can use the whole skin. But these that are usually from the supermarket, I usually peel the skins off, right? Alright, so let's go ahead and cut these up. To this, not too much, should be about right. Nice and thick. Here we got some green plantains and we're gonna be making some FuFu, right? So a FuFu is an African dish and it's usually made from like something with a lot of starch in it, like yams, cassava, potatoes. I've seen it made with rice, right? But we're gonna be using some plantains for this. So the first order of business is I have a little bit of coconut oil here. We're gonna just go ahead and put that in hand. And what this does is it helps not to get all that stain on your fingers, right? So the first thing you want to do is cut the edge off. We're gonna just barely break the skin here. All right. And then you want to just try to slowly work it. Now sometimes this can be very tedious, guys, so you might gotta play with it a little bit, but the idea is to just slowly break the skin on the banana, or in this case the plantain. Wow, this one here is a little tough, so we might gotta go to plan B, which is just peeling the skin off, right? But let's see if we can get it done this way. Sometimes they come off smooth, quick, easy. Another time they give a lot of fire, right? So something like that. All right, so again, just cut the tips off. And the seam, a line, you just follow that one down about a 1/4 inch in, and then we're just gonna go ahead. And again, takes a little bit of strength on these. All right, but pretty much this is what we're looking for right here. All right, so in case you don't want to do it that way, let me show you another way. You can just easily just peel it, right, with a knife. Now I like it the other way better because, you know, you don't waste too much of the plantain itself. But this way works just as fine, right? Yeah, something like that. That's good. That's good. Let me just, right, so we'll just go ahead. Same process as the rest of the stuff. And of course, guys, you can use the cutting board to do this if you're not comfortable. All right. Look like I should add the last one. Perfect. as usual, I'll blend this out with a little water here. Not too much, because this needed to kind of be a slurry. So I think it should be just fine. If it needs be, we add some more. Sometimes you just gotta work it down. Check this right here. I just want to make sure there are no lumps. So this is pretty much what we're looking like. We want that kind of texture, right? Yeah. Perfect. So we'll just go ahead and set this aside for later because we're not ready for this yet. Alright, so now we got all our ingredients prepped and ready to go. Let's start cooking. Remember, once you see light smoke, that means we're ready to go. First, I'm gonna start out with some coconut oil. Yes. So now we're gonna add the onion, ginger, garlic, and thyme, right? Now we wanna do this on low heat. We don't wanna rush this. So after about 2 minutes, want to add some really good quality curry. Not too much. Just a little bit more. Now you don't want to use too much curry because it will make the dish bitter. Just gonna go ahead and toast that up just to kind of get that flavor really pumping here. Now here goes that coconut milk. You can see the cream separated from the rest of the liquid. That's what we're looking for, right? So we're gonna go ahead right now. We're gonna pour in that in here. It's a nice couple spoonfuls. Not too much because we don't want this sauce too thick. So we're gonna slowly add this in here. Oh, careful. So all this is just gonna add to that sauce, right? It's gonna be so rich, so flavorful. Just what we're looking for here. Of course, we gotta use one of these, right? You can find these inside of your international aisle in your grocery store. This is what we're looking for, just the seasoning. So I have some here. I can just go ahead, sprinkle that around. And for the rest, we can just use a little bit of that coconut milk to thin that out right quick. Just use your gloves right quick. And just go ahead and use your hands and break those seasoning granules down so we can get them dissolved in that coconut milk, right? Like I said, that part we don't want. All right, I think this is good here. Now I will just slowly pour this in. Don't move too fast, that way you don't get those noodles in there. Just like that. So we're gonna give this a chance here to come up to a bubble. Man, you should smell the aroma from this, man. It's amazing right now. Oh, just what we're looking for, guys. So let's just give this a few minutes here just to kind of start bubbling. And then we can move on to the next step. I think we got the right amount of pumpkin in here. Maybe we can add just maybe another 2 scoops of pumpkin. That's perfect. All right. Yeah. So now that this is bubbling, we're gonna add some of this Scotch bonnet pepper sauce in this. Now, of course, this is optional, right? But you know, spice goes perfect with seafood. Now, we're not gonna be using too much here. Perfect. Now we're gonna add just a small piece of butter. Then we can start adding in those corn. Okay, go ahead and add that okra in. As you see, it's a little thick, so we can thin this out with a little bit of coconut, more of that coconut milk, right? Not too much. We're gonna end up using all that milk up. This is looking amazing right now. And you need to taste the flavors in that, right? So we're gonna add a little bit more jerk seasoning to this. Not too much, because remember, we already seasoned the fish already, right? So we don't wanna make the dish too salty. And this jerk spice is pretty low sodium, so that's why you can use a little bit more without worrying about the salt, right? So now we're going to go ahead and add back those beautiful snapper in this, right? Wow. This smells amazing. Point in time, we can go ahead and add some more of that cream. Like I said, we're not going to waste anything here. We're just going to use the whole thing. Okay. Now for the final step, I'm gonna add that basil with the red peppers and scallion, right? Wow. Yep. Let's not waste anything, right? How are we looking? So we got a non-stick pot here, right? And we're gonna start working on this. So just gonna pour that directly in. And the idea is to do this on low heat, right? Because we gotta keep stirring this until it gets nice and smooth, right? See, it's starting to get nice and thick now. That's what we're looking for, right? You want to keep making sure that you smoothen it out as you mix it. I want it to be nice and smooth, no lumps. It's starting to look really nice. That's what you're looking for. You want it to be nice and smooth, right? Still got a few more minutes on this here. Now if for some reason it start getting too thick before it cooks, just take a little bit of water. Just a little bit, not too much. Just enough just to rehydrate it. Right? Because the idea is the water provides the steam and the steam is what cooks it, right? But you don't want to add too much because you kind of want it to still maintain its shape. Or the consistency, I should say, what you're looking for. Alright, I think this should just be about fine here. Let's go ahead and open this up. Yep. Look nice and lovely. I just went ahead and covered it down just so it could steam a little bit because I want to make sure that the plantains get cooked properly, right? Now, as you see, this is nice and creamy, right? Rich. It's not all falling apart. Right? Okay, take it up. I think that looks like perfect consistency, right? It's dinner time. Okay, let's start doing some plating up here. Ooh. Looks. It's dinner time. So before we tuck in, God, we just want to say thank you. Thank you for this bounty of food that you provided. Thanks for all my subscribers, right? Bless over them and their family. And we ask for the same thing, which is just peace and prosperity, right? We just want to say thank you in your name. Amen. So let's go in. Now, first of all, this is a finger food, guys. So make sure your hands them clean. And we're going to try this. Look at that. Man, you can taste that green plantain, but it's so velvety, so smooth. Look at that. And that curry sauce just take it over the edge. So the FuFu alone is very mild flavor, which makes it perfect because the curry has so much flavor in it, right? You can taste that fresh coconut milk. Let's try that fish. Now again, seasoning that fish with that jerk spice earlier and then cooking it down after. You know, that frying really just lock all that seasoning in, right? and give you more of a mouthfeel. It's not all soft as if we just put it straight in, right? Look at all that right there. Wow. Definitely gotta be careful of bones, right? But overall, guys, this came out amazing. The salt level is perfect, right? It's not overly salty or too under seasoned. Wow. This is definitely one of those 10 out of 10 dishes, right? And I have a confession for you. I don't know if you realize, but this was actually my first time making FuFu. For that. Listen, this is off the chin. All right? Wow. Wow. Nice. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm kind of lost for words a little bit. This is delicious. Definitely 10 out of 10. 100%, right? Flavor profile from adding the pumpkin in there, in that sauce. Guys, the okras, you can taste that fish spice mix. Everything just tied together so perfectly, right? So as usual, go ahead and give this recipe a try, right? Make sure you also forward this to your family members, them. Wow, man. Look at that, man. Listen, I'm gonna go bust this down right now, right? And look at that. Wow. Off the chin. Later. It's right here. The side. It's like my favorite part of the fish. As long as you remove those bones out of it. If you're a fish lover, you're gonna enjoy the heck out of this. Wow. I don't know if you can tell, but I really enjoy that. Later.